You guys throw so much stuff into a coffee. I'm
It's
just
not just
like,
plain black.
I'm like, yeah, like we went to that, we walked past La La Land and they were like, yeah, we recommend this, this, and this. I was like, what is in this? Like, it was like a soft marshmallow at the top into a coffee, into a syrup. So I was like, I feel high as a kite now off sugar. Like, it just hits you so hard here.
Because what are you used to in the UK?
Just have a black coffee or an oat milk cappuccino, or that's probably it. A
Some-
frappuccino, maybe, if you're going crazy, like in a Starbucks thing. But here, it's like the options are just, you look at a menu, like, it's overwhelming. I can't make a decision.
Yeah,
It's too much.
that's America.
It's America, that is.
I go right into it.
Yes.
Are you ready?
I'm good.
What does 49 televised dances and 4 seasons of TV teach you about television and dancing, get you into the right mindset for Dancing with the Stars The Next Pro?
I think something that's really important is, like, as a professional dancer and somebody who's done Strictly Come Dancing, being a professional, it's so much more than just dancing. Like, the dancing can be the smallest point of it. The biggest picture is being like a true choreographer, but more importantly, a life coach. If you're teaching somebody to actually go on TV, live TV, and perform and feel confident in maybe an outfit that they don't feel confident in, or a dance they've never done before, or just literally stepping outside their comfort zone, like they're an athlete and they're not used to talking on TV, and actually, let's talk on TV. How do you get the best out of your partner? And it's about understanding very, very quickly what sort of personality that person is. Because therefore, as an athlete, they may need more pushing. They may need that, like, I'm used to running in a straight line. I need that coach behind me. Or if there's somebody who's more behind the lens, or a YouTuber there, they're quite used to controlling their own edit. So they feel a bit nervous about, like, how am I going to be editing this moment? But it's finding out what makes them feel confident. And a lot of people learn very differently. Like, are you a visual learner? Are you somebody who just needs to be told? Are you somebody who needs to be a little bit more physically manhandled? Like, your body needs to shape like this and your head needs to look here, and therefore you're going to look good. It may feel weird, but it looks great on camera. And the quicker you can kind of understand how your partner really mentally takes that information in, the better you're going to get to that performance that you really want to see. And I think it's really important, time management. If you don't understand and work well with time management, you are really going to struggle especially when you're working with somebody who can't dance. You're like, okay, let's get this into your body as quick as possible so you can go to bed tonight, sleep on it, your brain's still going through it. You wake up in the morning and we keep improving it and moving forward, especially with the Next Pro. It was obscene. The time scale was, you see Dancing with Stars and Strictly Come Dancing, you have a whole week. You learn a routine, you start off Monday and you're like, okay, great, yep. Wednesday, you usually have a bit of an emotional day. It's like, okay, this is all too much for me. I don't know if I'm going to make it for the live show. And then you build your partner back up for the live show, and then you make sure they feel like they can conquer the world. They're like, you are the best thing since sliced bread. You look fantastic. Your friends have having me here to support you. We are going to do amazing. And you worry about what the judges are going to say afterwards. But on this show, it was like, by the time that you had kind of been told what the challenge is, you've been put with your partner, you have to choreograph, you have to teach it, and then suddenly, before you blink, 2 days later, you're actually performing it. And straight away, as soon as you finish that performance, you're into the next week. So it was 2 weeks filmed in 2 TV weeks, let's say, filmed in 1 real week. And that is a lot for even a professional dancer, because you want to give it its justice, its best possible. But when you're in a studio, you can't be like, let's workshop this. Let's spend half a day being like, ooh, does this feel better? Does this feel better? If it doesn't work the first time, cut it and put something else in place, because you don't have time to workshop it, especially on this show.
What made you want to step into it? When you saw the audition, what made you think this is, because you've stepped away from Strictly.
Yes.
So now you're returning back into the world of Dancing with the Stars. You're reuniting with Shirley. Why'd you want to do this now?
I've always wanted to do Dancing with Stars in the US. It's always been a dream for me. It's always been that show that I've always looked up towards and been like, wow, you really do push the boundaries. You bring in new concepts. You bring in new ideas.
Is it that different than Strictly?
I feel like Strictly, we're British people. We like what we like, and we always stick to the exact same format. So you kind of know exactly what you're going to get from the dancers themselves, the judges' comments, and the way that the format of the show runs. Whereas in the US, it can be like, actually, this week, we're going to swap partners. Or this week, we're going to make you all compete on the floor together. Or there's all these like fun curveballs. So as a professional dancer, and I think also for the celebrities, they're like, oh, you're always on your toes. You're always kind of like, you don't really always know what's going to happen. You know you're going to have to perform, but sometimes it's like, oh, I didn't see this coming. And I think that's really positive. But the one thing for me that I've always wanted to do is America. Like it's just so much. Well, everything we spoke about coffees before. There's so many more options. It's bigger, like the energy, and it's that real like yes mentality. It's like, well, yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. And I really appreciate that, especially when you only have one life and you want to live it to the maximum. And that's kind of that American dream. Is like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it.
So how is Dancing with the Stars The Next Pro different from what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I think it was kind of it was really interesting because you have no idea. When it is an inaugural show, the first time, you kind of sign a contract and you say, I'm giving myself to you. Like, I don't know how big the set's going to be. I don't know how it's going to be presented. I don't know how. I literally know nothing.
There's no format. There's no thing for you to watch prior.
Nothing. All you know is you're going to dance and you're going to be knocked out maybe once a week, maybe two in week one. Like, you're told absolutely nothing. And even on the day of performing, you still don't know if it's going to be one person goes home, two people goes home.
Oh, even the day of.
Oh, we are kept in the dark. And
So
I mean
American.
the dark. That's why sometimes our faces are like, what's happening? Because we do not know what is happening. And I think even walking onto the floor for the first time, I think Shirley was surprised to see me there. Like, she had no idea I was doing the show. And I think kind of for all of the judges themselves, plus the contestants, week one was the first time that we were actually able to really see each other perform. Like, your phones have been taken off you. Like, if you know somebody, you're like, okay, they're really cool at this. Like, you had Briar. Like, I actually did recognize her face. I was like, she's a sick, awesome dancer in
You
her
knew who
style.
through social media,
Yeah,
the dance
through
world?
social media. I was like, wow. But other than that, it was kind of like, okay, I've never seen Benji dance. I've never seen Alan dance. Like, you don't know. And that was kind of really exciting for me because we're all sat there. Like, you have to remember you're on camera as well. And we did do a lot of filming with Robert, but you sat there and you're like, you know, when you watch TV at home, you're just like, no expression because you're like, you've really taken in. You're like, oh, wow, this is cool. But you're like, oh, no, I'm on camera. No, I'm still on camera.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So did you know much of the other competitors when you first got on?
No, I knew nobody. I was literally like, for the first time, we drove in on these kind of weird minivan coaches and we got to the house and it was the first time saying, hi, nice to meet you. I'm AJ. How are you, Natalie? I've never seen you before. Good to meet you. Every single conversation was that. So it was very overwhelming, like exhausting, but fantastic at the same time.
How many other people were ballroom trained at that point?
So the ballroom and Latin dancers, fundamentally, Eric as a guy was very good training in ballroom and Latin. You can kind of see that technique from week one and that really proficiency. And obviously in week two, he did a ballroom dance. So you can kind of see that quality of movement, which is really, really nice. Alan, I think, is more trained in the Latin style. So you can kind of see that routine that he did, again, beautiful. I like seeing ballroom and seeing Natalie do that ballroom dance was like, oh, I can, you know, when you just, sometimes as a non-dancer, even as a dancer, but sometimes as a non-dancer, you don't always know why you prefer to watch somebody over somebody else. And it comes down to that fundamental training of really understanding your craft and being like, why do they move to the music a little bit more here? Why do they kind of hold here and kind of create that contrast?
That's
that
the training.
excitement? That's that training that you never really talk about because you kind of expect it to be there. And I think that's kind of the one thing with Dancing with the Stars. You're like, why do I prefer to watch that pro than that pro? You don't always know it as a non-dancer, but everybody says the same thing.
There's a feeling.
There's a feeling. There's an emotional connection to it, especially when you want that contrast from the highs to the lows. And that comes from that. All them hours of training that nobody ever sees in a studio when you're blood, sweat, and tears as a child, wherever it may be. That's why when a celebrity comes on to show, they're like, why are we working so hard on this? Because as you progress over the weeks, from week one, especially into that week 5 or 6, you're like, oh, the celebrity's really improving now. They're understanding because each week is a compounding game. You learn something in one dance that gets passed over to the next dance, and it keeps going. And that's when you're like, okay, we've done this step, yes, but we're going to do it in a different style now. And we can do a different timing. We can syncopate the time. We can double time it because now you can actually do the step.
I love the show because it gives a chance for new people to have a built-in audience.
Yes.
Going into their first season now of Dancing with the Stars. So you've never seen that before from people who've gotten bumped up from troupe or people who just get brought in. Because now there's a fandom for these dancers. If you win the competition, because at this point of this recording, we're now on week 3. We're
Yes.
going into week 3.
Going into week 3.
Who would you want to be paired with as a professional dancer?
As a celebrity that I'd want to dance with, I think there's so many in America, so many great celebrities.
Like, who are you attracted to in the world from being from the UK? Who's popular to you? Who do you want to dance with?
I always like seeing people that, and it sounds really funny, I'm going to say it out loud, but maybe I should have thought about this beforehand. I always like seeing musicians or pop stars because I feel like they kind of have that musicality. So they already have that understanding of movement.
The rhythm.
Yeah, the rhythm. And they kind of know what they look good at. They've been filmed a couple of times. So I always say kind of like someone who's reinvented herself in a really positive way with a younger audience, like Zara Larsson, like really that vibe of the hair, the makeup, the TikTok style dances. But at the same time, I always love working with athletes. I feel like whether it's coming off the back of an Olympic Games or them sort of seasons, because I feel like they just have that mentality where everything is so different for them because it's like we're on TV. Yes, for you, if you run 100 meters and you're first across the line, it doesn't matter how you look, you're the winner. Whereas in this opportunity, it's actually about connection, storytelling, personality. Like, what do we know about you that really makes us fall in love with you? And I think that's something exciting working with an athlete. Plus, they work really hard. Like, if somebody's an Olympian, they've put the time in and they understand what blood, sweat, and tears really means. And I think that's really positive. Like, for somebody, it's like, it's not always the easy route. It's sometimes that harder route that really makes it feel valued. When you achieve something and you know you've worked hard for it, it feels so much more rewarding.
So you've watched the American Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
How does that compare to Strictly?
I think the one thing that is very different is the kind of, maybe it's the judges as well, that everything is amazing. Like, everything's always like
Big
over
and
the top.
grand.
Yeah, big and grand. Like, it's like if we can throw more into it, as we would say, throw more into the kitchen sink, like, you guys throw it in, and I love it. And especially the outfits as well. Like, the outfits are crazy everywhere, but you guys somehow put even more rhinestones on a shirt. And it's funny to watch. But I think the one thing that's really good is, say if it's like an opening show or the launch show or the final, you bring in so many more artists from the outside. You really kind of build it up. You layer that cake so much more that by the time we even get to the first performance, you're like, whoa, this is the Super Bowl. Like, I'm ready to go. Bring me the energy.
How did you get the audition for Dancing with the Stars The Next Pro?
For me, I was actually asked to do the show, which was kind of an honor on that side. I did have to make sure that I had my visas to work in the US, which was a little bit harder these days to kind of sort that out. So I do have my visas for the O1, so I can actually work in the US and dance and perform and do what I love. And I think it's quite funny because arriving in the house for the first time, I didn't know if it was going to be Americans or people from other Dancing with the Stars all over the world, because I think that was the original thought process. We're going to have more people from all over. Obviously, it ended up being 11 Americans and myself from the UK, which was which I did love in the end. But it's that kind of like, you still don't know. This sounds weird. If you work in TV world, this will make more sense. But you still don't know until you actually step foot onto the floor or that camera starts recording that you're doing the TV show. It can be up to that final minute. You could fly, in my instance, fly all the way to Australia. And it was only an hour before the show that I knew I was going to do the show because my visa came in for the US.
Oh, it's that late.
So I'd taken all this calculated risk, let's say, for what I love, my profession, to dance, to have the opportunity to dance on Dancing with the Stars. But until I was like, okay, I'm on camera, I'm in the house, this is happening now.
How does this competition differ from Strictly in the way that you are being filmed in the house and you're competing with other dancers now?
Yeah, the reality side of this show, which we haven't seen so much of it on socials and on the actual show that much. We saw a little clip bit of us all sitting down, and obviously
In episode 2,
in
it's
episode
starting to
2,
come in.
the reality is starting to come in. Nina and Benji were talking, and they made us do a lot of that sort of filming. I mean, a lot. So I feel like it's really going to build, and you're going to start to see our personalities grow. But at the same time, it's Big Brother meets Dancing with Stars, and it's great. It is great, but there's one negative for me.
And what is that?
All the guys that sleep in the same room, and we all had to share one bathroom. I was like, I'm a bit OCD. I'm a bit of a clean freak, and I'm like, okay, this is a bit of a negative, but we all had our own little time zones to go into the bathroom, and certain rules there were in the bathroom, and I was like, okay. Once we kind of sorted that out, I was like, okay, everybody's really nice, and I think that's one thing that kind of we all had, that shared love for dance and what we do. We understand that we all want to get on Dancing with Stars. We all understand like our personalities quite quickly, and I think everybody really did get on pretty well, to be honest. Especially the guys, like we were pretty chill, and that was kind of really nice to see. And I think one thing that's kind of different is obviously you are being judged, but sometimes you're like, are we being judged individually? Are we being judged as a pair? And it's kind of like you have to remember at the end of the day, only one person can win. And for me, I feel like having been a professional on Strictly Come Dancing before, it's really important that understanding that, yes, you can look good, but it's so important to showcase that you work well with. For instance, week 2, I had Dancing the Jive with Selena. Like for me, it's like, I want to work so well with her. She's a fantastic dancer. She's a superstar. But at the same time, Latin and ballroom was not her strongest point. So I want to train you as good as possible. So when we go out on that floor together, we both feel so confident in a style that maybe you wouldn't have felt so confident in at the very beginning.
Because she's a commercial, you're ballroom trained.
She's commercial. I'm trained in ballroom and Latin. So that's kind of like we use each other's strong suits. And I think that's really important as a professional who wants to get on the show. You have to show that you really have to make your partner look amazing. And especially as a guy, I feel like it's really important to showcase your lady. That's kind of what I really believe in ballroom Latin. It's the guys there, the foundations, to really show how the lady can show her beauty, her style, her movement. Because at the end of the day, when you do a show like Dancing with the Stars, it's always about how do you present your partner in the best possible way? How do you highlight what they're really good at? How do you make sure that they're the one that shines? Because at the end of the day, it's about giving the experience to the celebrity. Because in theory, the celebrity only gets the opportunity to do the show once. The professional gets the opportunity to do the show multiple times. So you really want their experience to be the best possible experience they can ever have. So they just rave about it, they talk about it. And that's a skill in itself, because you have to work with people. And the more you can just like be a nice person, work with them, find out their little quirks, because we all have little quirks, and really get the best out of them.
Because that's, like you said, being the life coach amongst just being the choreographer.
100%. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to have good days and bad days, ups and downs, but times that by 1,000. You're being judged by millions of people, and obviously the judges themselves. And it's been numbered. It's like, okay, 7. Oh, we got a 5. Oh, it's a bad week. Or we got a 9. It's an amazing week. It's a real tough emotional one. And I think we always have to remember everybody's human. We all have these different feelings. As much as people kind of put the smile on, it really does hit home. And even for the professionals, you're like, we've really worked hard this week, and maybe we could have made a different decision and changed choreography a little bit here. But at the end of the day, you have to stick with that decision that's, I'm going out, I'm performing live now. This has to be all of my confidence, because this is my moment to shine.
For the American audience who might not be aware, how big is Strictly in the UK?
Strictly in the UK is a national treasure. We, at the height of the seasons, would get 12 million views live on a Saturday night and a Sunday night for a results show. And then you do all of, obviously, the same here, the breakfast TV shows. And we would also do a spin-off show called It Takes Two, where you'd sit down like this and you talk with your partner and you discuss what's happened the previous week and then you discuss about the week that's coming up. We've got this song or this dance style. It's everything in the UK.
It's massive.
It's insane in the best possible way.
And you've done a handful of other reality TV shows too.
I've done my fair share of reality shows.
Do you mind sharing which they are?
I've done Strictly Come Dancing for 4 years. That's a reality in itself. I've done I'm a Celebrity in the UK. I've done MasterChef. I've done Celebrity SAS Who Dares Wins.
Which is Special Forces in America.
Special Forces, yeah. So I won that one.
You won that?
Oh, yeah. I love these physical, mental challenges. I've done another one called Hunted, which was a charity special. It's where you go on the run and you're chased by SAS Special Forces people to capture you. So I was on the run for, I think, 3 weeks.
What was your interactions with Rudy Reyes?
Oh, Rudy. Oh, my God. He's insane. He's such a nice guy. Obviously, visually, he's jacked. He's
a video game character.
Crazy jacked. And he's so nice. He, like, on camera, he'll be, like, in your face, like, ah. And then it got to the final episode on SAS, and we were in the Middle East in Wadi Rum, in the Moon Valley, and we had to go up the sand dune. And we were climbing for a couple of hours, and he was there with me, and I got my Birkin on, it's like 30 kg on my back. And he's just like, keep your eyes up, keep going. Like, so motivating. And I think that's the one thing with him, especially as a personality, you can tell that he always wants the best from each recruit. And he makes sure that, like, how can we get more out of you in a way that keeps you, yes, I'm keeping the pressure on you, but at the same time, like, you've got this in yourself. Like, dig deep. What are we going to make you achieve this goal this week?
You had 4 successful seasons with Strictly.
Yes.
Did you step away to do other reality TV shows?
I think one thing for me was it's also important to grow as a person. And when I was doing Strictly Come Dancing, and you would do that for 6 months, I'd do a pantomime, like a theatre show for a month. I'd do an arena tour for 2 months. I would then do a pros tour, my personal tour for 4 or 5 kind of months. Like, the whole year vanished. And I think it was really important for me to actually find myself as a person, because I started doing Strictly Come Dancing at the age of 20.
One of the youngest ever to do it.
One of the youngest ever to do it, and I loved it. Like, you could tell my competitive mentality kind of going into the show, and you can kind of even see it on episode 2, Dancing with Selena. And I think it was really important to find yourself, having been somebody who's competed all their lives, they go straight into TV. And that's kind of something that people don't talk about in our industry a lot, I feel like. When it's important to actually be like, okay, what makes you tick? Like, how can you grow other companies? How can you really kind of find out what makes you you? And I think sometimes people get so hung up on one thing that's like, there's a big world out there. It's a big world. And I think understanding that, like, where you are and what you want to achieve is really important. The same thing with this show. It's like, I've wanted to do Dancing with Stars for 4 years now, and I've really done a lot in my power to make sure I go out of my way to showcase that. And it's like, because I want to. I think it's really important to kind of people be like, no, this is what I want to do. And it's a really powerful feeling. That.
Are there any other reality shows in the UK that you want to do?
Obviously, the one TV show in the UK and America that is really blowing up is Traitors. It may be weird, but I've never watched Traitors. And I feel like that's a good thing, because if I was ever to do that show, I'd be like, I know nothing.
Oh, you'd go in it blind.
I think so. I think that's the best possible way sometimes. Like, you're just like, okay, you can research a lot of shows, like SAS Who Dares Wins. I researched that a lot.
And was that anything to what you thought it would be?
It was hard.
Harder than you thought?
No. It sounds really weird, but as a professional dancer, when you have to self-motivate yourself to get up in the morning and train 12 hours a day for 10 years straight and not have days off and compete every single weekend, you find a mentality that you either can do that or you can't do that, and it's built into you. And I've always done extreme sports and pushed my body, so I've always been used to taking a hit or two. So I think going into a show like SAS, the one thing that's really nice is you have a very clear target. Okay, we've got a Jeep, it's stuck in the sand, we need to work together as a team, get the Jeep out of the sand, push it 2 miles, and then once it gets past there, that's your goal. So there's a very clear, like, start and stop. Yes, the goals kind of change sometimes, but at the same time, like, you know, you're working something very direct. As a dancer, you never reach perfection. If they gave us a week to work on dance, okay, we're still working really hard. If they gave us a month to work on dance, you're still going to be working just as hard. And I think that kind of achievement of never reaching perfection means that you're always pushing to find a better way to improve it. And that's a mental thing, not a physical thing. Like mentally, like most people can't find that, but physically, your body can get through it. It always finds a way.
For your mindset, what are you thinking right before a performance? Do you have that muscle memory locked in? Are you doing the moves right beforehand?
I'm a visual person, so I literally go into like this kind of weird focus state where I like to visualize every single step and just be like, okay, I know where I start, I know where I finish, I know I want to hit camera 2, camera 3, crane back to 2. Like I really choreograph it.
Even
like
if you have a
that.
partner, are you doing that? Or are you trying to coach them?
Even with a partner, but I try and make sure that I've done that before. So when it comes down to actually being with my partner, I make sure, whether it be a professional or a celebrity, that we make sure that we get our breathing at the same pace. So whether that be whoever it is holding hands or just being together, just holding each other and just making sure that we calm ourselves down and we allow that breathing to happen. Obviously, we've psyched ourselves up before. We've got the heart rate up, our blood's pumping, and then let's just calm it down. So therefore, we can be together. So as we walk onto the floor, we take our position. We know what we're going to achieve, that first movement. And I think making sure that you dance together as one is the most beautiful thing as a ballroom Latin dancer. Like, you can really showcase it. Two bodies dancing separate, it's just painful to watch, to be honest. When you're as one, that's what the art form is. That comes down to timing, technique, but at the same time, trust. If you can trust your partner, especially as a male professional, when you're doing lifts with your partner as a female, I think it's much scarier as a girl. Like doing these lifts that we try as guys, I'm like I don't know how. If it was vice versa, I don't know if I would be as trustworthy as you are. And having them strong foundations and that trust is what gets the best possible performance, especially when you have to do it twice. I love performing live. On this show, having to dance the actual final routine twice was the weirdest feeling ever. And it took me, like, for that week 1, week 2, for that to settle into my head. Okay, every time we practice this in the studio, we always practice it doing it twice as though it's live, because it was just a weird setup. It's kind of like, as Briar said, like, one of them, she slipped in her routine. Like, unfortunately, it does happen. The other routine she didn't slip. It was fantastic. Which one are they going to use?
You don't know.
Obviously, in this instance, they used the one she slipped. But at the same time, you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's the hardest thing with this show, is that with Dancing with Stars, like, it's live. Whatever I say in that moment, it's said. The context is there, the feeling, the emotion. You understand why that person's in that state of mind, whether it be in a good performance or bad performance. Whereas with this show, it's quite hard to actually, sometimes as a viewer, you're like, why are they looking a bit like that? Or why is he happy here or sad here? Or why are they showing so much intensity in the studio? Well, we're being filmed 24/7. Like, you need to understand that there's a lot of context there, and kind of be like, we have gone through a lot through that day. And sometimes, like with Selena, they show the moment like we're super in it zone, like, lean more, Selena, do this. But at the same time, that they don't show the moment in that week where Selena did obviously feel a bit emotional that week, because it wasn't her background of doing a jive, but it's about actually, how can we make this better for you, Selena? How can I make you feel happier? And we work together. So therefore, when we come on to that live performance, we both feel just as confident working together and making sure that as we perform, we both perform at the highest level. Because at the end of the day, the one thing that I always like to think, whether it be creating a business or performing live on TV, it's like, in that moment, that's going to go down in history. Like, that performance, our jive together, I can go onto YouTube and show my kids in the future. I'm like, look, that's what we did. And that's why I think it's so important to work so hard in the studios, because everything we do now is captured to be there for the end of time.
Do you have more comfortability being in front of a crowd performing?
Yeah. Yeah, I love being in front of a crowd.
What is it about that makes you feel better?
Your body is just at a heightened state of reactions. So I feel like in that moment, when you've got the audience, you have something to really bounce off and use their adrenaline. There's always that saying, like, if if I can produce 10% of my energy today, and there's somebody who also produces 10% of our energy on next to me, together we're going to be able to produce 30-40% because you really vibe off each other. You can get so much more out of it. So in a room, a studio with lights and cameramen and silence, pin drop silence, you're like, well, I would like a bit more energy. For me, even before I'd go onto the routines and it'd be live on TV, there's always a little VT, the videotape before the performance. You kind of see them in their week on Dancing with the Stars. But I would be hyping up the audience in the studio, being like, come on, guys, I've got my partner here. Everyone put your hands together, like high five people, like find that energy for myself before the camera's live. And then I'd make sure I'd get back into my spot, literally. Okay, now we're on live TV. So therefore, you just have that energy that you at home maybe don't understand why we've maybe had a little giggle before, or why they're so hyped right now. It's because we've used the energy in the room to get us to that point. And at the end of the day, the routines on Dancing with Stars, they're 60 seconds, 90 seconds max. Like, you can get through 90 seconds even if you're exhausted.
In episode 1, Shirley said that you played it safe. Do you think that was a fair critique?
I think for me, episode 1 was a real kind of finding my feet in the studio. And that sounds weird, but like, it was kind of like I hadn't competed for 6 years or so on TV. So actually going back into the studio, feeling, okay, I'm back in the studio. I'm back. I feel good. It went well. I feel like they used the bad video of the 2 episodes. I feel like they used my safety one. My first routine that I did, I felt like I walked out and I went, okay, let's just do a safety just to secure it. And then the second one, I was like, now we go for it. And I feel like they used the safety one a bit more. But I do think the critique of kind of like playing it safe or not, it was hard within that routine because we'd been given the choreography by Derek. So half of the choreography, the part when we're side by side, myself and Jake would dance together, that's obviously given to us. So I don't think they made that very clear on the episode. So we're given that. And then the part afterwards, when it went into when I was on my own, was my part and Jake's was his previous part. So I feel like the music's given to us, and it was you can't really do much in 20 seconds. So I was like, okay, what is the goal? Technique. How can I show technique in the best possible way? Because each week we have a very clear, this is what we're focusing on. So I'm always like, okay, we need to make sure we focus on what we've been told, or else it's probably not going to be good for us. And as the weeks progress, you need to focus on what you're being told very clearly, or else it's not good for you.
Do you think that anyone who has that who's very well trained in ballroom could come on to The Next Pro? Or is there more to it?
I was expecting, I did a lot of training before the show. I got myself physically and mentally to the peak of what I could be. I would go to Pineapple Dance Studios in London and take contemporary classes, jazz classes, commercial classes.
To refresh?
Just to make myself feel like silly. I know it sounds really weird, but like put myself out of my comfort zone. Go into a class with 80, mostly girls usually, doing jazz to a song I've never heard before, and then we're all going to perform it live for each other. And to make yourself feel nervous and actually train yourself and have different timings and different techniques, I think was really positive, because most ballroom and Latin people wouldn't put themselves out of their comfort zone. They like their own little world. And for me, it's about, this show was actually, I'm willing to put myself out on a limb. I'm willing to put myself out of my comfort zone to showcase how much this job means to me and how much like I have grown as a person and as a choreographer and as a dancer. I can do so much more than just ballroom and Latin. And that's what I've spent a lot of time doing previously before the show came on. Ironically, the show was very heavily based on ballroom Latin, which is fantastic for me also.
Because that's what they're trying to find now.
So that's what they're trying to find. So in hindsight, brilliant all the extra stuff because I added it in. But knowing that ballroom Latin, the time and the technique, the capability to teach people was a priority, I think that was great for me.
Given the show's success, do you think they do another season of this?
I think they will. I think the show is going to do fantastic. And I think the one thing with any new show, episode 1, episode 2, people have judgment straight away, immediately. But if you were able to binge watch the show from beginning to end, you would have a different opinion than just watching episode 1, episode 2. And I think as people really kind of watch the show and find the people that they really attach to and the routines and the different concepts, I think people are going to be like, oh wow, why did I think like episode 1 that I wasn't gonna love it? You're gonna fall in love with the show, and I think that kind of love is gonna really grow. And the great thing is with this show, it's been shown in obviously America, the UK, Australia. It's being shown globally, so I think that's gonna be fantastic for the dance industry itself, like for people and performers. And the one thing that's really good is just seeing young kids just be like, this could be their first introduction into seeing professional dance and be like, Mummy, Daddy, I want to try that. And I think that's really, really rewarding as a dancer.
I'd love to get more into your background on dance because you got into ballroom later in the game than other people.
Yeah.
Was it 11?
Yeah, I think I was 11, 12 when I started doing ballroom and Latin.
And a lot of other kids get in at 3 and 4.
My competitors, when I competed, they all started at age of 3, like tiny, tiny tots.
What made you want to sign up at that point?
Ironically, I just wanted to go on TV at the age of 11, 12. I was like...
To do Strictly?
No, I just want to go on TV. I was like, as a child, you know what? You're like, Mum, Dad, I want to go on TV. It's so random, I know. My mum and dad, we have a dance school, and my dad was always like, no, AJ, you're never going to do dancing. It's not a guaranteed future. It costs too much money, and it's a bit of a headache sometimes. And he judges all over the world. So if I was to dance in the competitions, he couldn't judge. He was... a world champion and then judged all over the world. So he is a very, very good dancer. And he taught me fundamentally everything I know as a ballroom Latin dancer.
And he wouldn't be able to be a professional judge if you got into dancing?
Correct. Yeah. He couldn't judge his own family. So that was one thing. And then there was an opportunity to do a small TV show called Baby Ballroom in the UK. And I was like, okay, great. Yep, let's do it. I did awful, cried the whole time. And thankfully, it never made air. It's in the basement of the BBC somewhere, hopefully never to be seen again. And I think my mum and dad were happy that, like, he quite clearly didn't enjoy this. So he's never going to dance again. And the next day I was like, no, I love it. I want to do it. Like, I want to be number 1 in the world. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to give it everything and let's go for it. And
Are you aware of Blackpool and all these other competitions at that point?
At that point, yes. I was born on the 5th of November. And the British National Championship was on the 20th of November, and I went there as a literal baby. And every single competition at Blackpool, my dad would judge. So I would go to Blackpool 2 to 3 times a year, spend his money on the slot machines in the arcades, and literally be around that world, knowing the music, causing havoc, but never wanting to dance. So yeah, Blackpool is like my home in a weird way, and my family home is an hour from Blackpool. Oh, wow. So that's my neck of the woods.
So at what point do you realize that you're good at this and you can make this professionally happen?
I think the one thing for me from the age of 12 onwards is like, you just focus on improving. And dancing as a child, you're like, okay, competition every single weekend. I'm getting better. I'm improving. I'm really enjoying it. I've got a dance partner that we really get on well with, which is important because when you grow as a dancer, you don't want to kind of swap partners because you feel like you start back at the beginning again. Like, you can't build that relationship, especially as children. And then at the age of 18, I did Britain's Got Talent in the UK. And we did a epic kind of burlesque, jive, Charleston-y sort of number. And it went fantastic. And at that point, I was like, okay, yeah, this TV side could be really good. I went back to... dancing again, and at that moment I was like, yeah, this is really cool. But in my head I was like, I'm always going to compete. I'm always just going to do Blackpool. I'm not going to do TV. And I got offered to do Strictly Come Dancing, and at that moment I was like, no, I'm gonna keep competing. And any competitor would know what I mean. They're like, this is the only world. You're stuck in your bubble.
There's an old school mentality that
very old
you don't go to TV.
Yeah, very old school. And it's obviously changed a lot now in the past 5 or 6 years. Yeah, properly. But at that point I was like, no, I'm just gonna stick competing. And I was like, at the end of the day, the reason why I chose to do Strictly was because one of the ladies that sponsored me, she passed away unfortunately, and she'd allowed me to travel the world and compete, and without her it wouldn't have been possible. And the last thing that she said was kind of like, just take every single opportunity. Like you never know what's going to come from this crossroads, but if you don't take the opportunity, you'll never know. And at that point, I was like, okay, she just passed away. Like everything happens for a reason. You don't always know what that reason is. And then I said yes to doing Strictly Come Dancing, and I never looked back. It was overwhelming. It was fantastic, and I loved every single moment about it.
What was your first interaction with Shirley Ballas?
First, I'd seen her judging. Obviously, I know her through the dancing world, like as a professional female dancer, one of the best there has arguably ever been. She knows what she's talking about, and I think the one thing with Shirley and the way that she kind of has that mentality, she is that competitive clarity. So she's very clear in what she wants to see. And I think for me, when I was dancing with my partner, Chloe Hewitt, we went for lessons with her. I think I must have been not till I was 18. And then I obviously did Strictly age of 20. So it's kind of like teaching with her. She kind of works like my dad, like old school. This is it. This is what we need to see. And I think that's really good as a teacher and as somebody who wants the best out of the students. Like, this is it. You do it this way. And it's kind of clear.
Who are some of your favorite dancers from Dancing with the Stars?
I think my favorite dancers from Dancing with the Stars, I absolutely appreciate Daniela's choreography, the way that she gets the best out of her partners, the way that she creates these viral wow moments that really just be like, that's sick. And the person at home sat on the couch like, maybe I could try that. And you're like, no, can't try that. I've tried it. It doesn't go very well. And I have to appreciate Val, the quality of as a Latin dancer. Again, both people coming from that ballroom Latin background, understanding it, because when you have such quality and technique, it looks effortless. And I think as a person sat at home, you don't always understand why, as we were saying, but you're like, that person is so much better. It comes from that effortless quality. And sometimes it maybe looks like they're doing less, but that's the whole point of it. You are doing, arguably internally, so much more, but on the outside, it appears so calm, so still, so you can show the personality.
Yeah, Val never shows emotion, ever.
Yeah. But what he does do, he always shows off his partners in the best possible light, because he doesn't steal the show and throw his arms around and his head around. He has that internal strength that allows him from his body to push out to his partner and allow them to then do the move. And that's what, that's why he's had such an amazing career. And I would say that every single ballroom Latin dance would say the exact same thing. Like, that's quality. That's real quality.
Is there something about American reality TV that differs vastly from British reality TV?
I think reality TV is funny in itself, but I do find in America reality TV, they like to edit. They like a good edit over here. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, but wait, was that said on a Monday and was that said on a Friday? And was that said to this person or that person? Because I feel like the way they edit it over here is like, but I thought they were friends and then they're not. I'm like, I think that's been edited to make it look like they're not friends. Whereas in the UK, I feel like legally, the way that they have to do it is very different than legally they can do it in the US. Over here, they can get away with a lot more cutting. Whereas in the UK, legally, you can't get away with as much taking certain parts and making it look like you're speaking about somebody else when you're not even speaking about them.
Is there anything you could say about future episodes of Dancing with the Stars The Next Pro, week 3, wherever going ahead? Because you said that we're going to see more of the reality of the house and conversations and friendships and relationships. Is there anything else you could share about that?
I think one thing that's exciting, like you kind of see at the end of episode 2 going in episode 3, kind of you see that obviously someone gets whisked away in an ambulance. So we've kind of seen that hit that happens with Natalie, unfortunately getting hit in the face by Stephanie. And the one thing that you kind of are going to see more of, I think, is just the real, from me, from episode 1 to episode 2, you're starting to see more of us as people. And I think that's kind of really important because, as you said, whoever has the opportunity to go from this show and use this as kind of the beginning of their career, maybe, everybody's going to have such a fantastic platform to really use it to showcase what they love, dancing. Obviously, I can't say a lot. We'll maybe have to talk again in the future. But I think it just comes down to really seeing the performances and seeing people showcasing more of their abilities. At the minute, I feel like you've only seen like a small portion. Well, in my instance, 2 drives. You've only seen 2% of what I could do, which is the irony of the things. But I think one thing that people have to remember is that sometimes we don't always have the opportunity to choose what we want to do, whether that be music, dance style, certain concepts. Like it's kind of like it's a TV show, it's an entertainment show. Everybody is performing in different ways, whether that be the pros, the judges. Like there's a lot, and because it's pre-recorded, we film so much that I just hope that they show more of that, even if it's just on the social side. Kind of you see us in the house a bit more now doing just random spasmodic things. On my day off, thankfully I was able to watch the F1, so I was very happy. But I think seeing more of our kind of actual personalities, I think that's going to be really important on this show.
Is there a big difference in the American culture of dance versus the British culture of dance?
Yeah, I think a real focus on quality in the UK of understanding every single dance style.
The fundamentals of it?
The fundamentals of it. So my best example would be like I'm trained in all 10 dances. I'm an adjudicator, so I teach. I can judge at the highest championship standards. So therefore, I know the technique of every single step, if it's a foxtrot, let's say, when you're doing the boy steps or the girl steps, the heel turns, the curves, the feathers, the 3 steps. So therefore, I know the timing of the boy, the girl, the footwork of the boy, the girl. So I really just hope that they show throughout this process who actually understands every single timing, technique, and movement. So therefore, if they were to be able to do the job on the show, they give their celebrity the best opportunity to really be the best they can be. Because unfortunately, if you don't understand every single movement in your body and the technique, how do you teach somebody else to do that and get the best out of them moving forward? And that's always a kind of a fear for me with what it is. And I think that's why kind of in the past, Val or Max has said certain things. It's kind of like ballroom and Latin is its own world. And you can't learn that in a matter of years. Like it's a whole body movement style. It's a whole different way of thinking, how you position your body weight. And I think that's kind of one thing that people always underestimate with ballroom Latin. They think it's achievable and easy, but it's the good people that make it look achievable and easy.
Is there a championship or a competition that you've won that means the most to you?
For me, having done the Story Week 2, winning the British Open Championship meant so much to me. And it wasn't really kind of, we spoke a lot on TV and maybe in the edit didn't showcase it so much. Like, as I've just said to you, I was a couple of weeks old when I went to the Blackpool to speak to watch, well, not watch, just be there, watch my dad judge and kind of talk about that. And for me, that's always been the competition I've always visualized every single night for the whole of my competitive life. And that's why it meant so much to me. And I think one thing that's really interesting on storytelling, we all have different achievements. Like your achievement, maybe you've got this fantastic podcast room, you have fantastic guests, you have a real loyal audience. Like that achievement, I think positive achievements and stories are really empowering because a lot of the time, sometimes the negative side, the emotional tears can be not easier to show, but it can be down. And I think positive stories are also really powerful at the same time.
Yeah, I think in today's world, a lot of the negativity kind of rises up.
Yeah, I think positivity is so powerful, especially when life is hard and things can be really, really hard. Like let's engage the powerful side. Let's unite people together. Let's not divide. Let's unite and work forward to that. And I think that's through achievements and positivity. And at the end of the day, dance is the one thing universally. It doesn't matter what race, what gender, what religion. If somebody's dancing, you smile, you feel the music, you feel the performance. And what world can we be in where it's dance that can bring everybody together?
What do you think music video or event or whatever it might be, what do you think had the best choreography?
There's so many, choreography is such an interesting one because like we've just watched the World Cup, for example,
Which was incredible.
and the halftime show was madness.
Going from like here to here.
Like even just like how did they get that floor on? How did they build it up? But therefore, it's such a big stadium that obviously that's filmed. How do we make it look good for 80,000 people in the stadium? But how do we also make it look good for everybody sat down watching at home? So the choreography like maybe wouldn't have been so shown that well on a close-up because you just got a singer. But on a wide, you're like, wow, we've got like 100 bodies all moving left and right together. So I think it comes down to where you're watching it from. On Dancing with Stars, on The Next Pro, like on especially week 3, like I'm like, can we use this camera angle? Can I use the steady cam here? Because I know this is going to look really, really cool if I use a steady here or I use a jib here. Like I know that's going to look fantastic. It may not look so good in the studio, but on camera for the person sat at home, they're like, whoa. And I think that's the one thing with choreography. It's like, how are we capturing it? How am I consuming it? Am I watching it on my phone or am I watching it at like the West End show where you need to like, come watch that show 3 times because it's live. You'll see something different every single time. Like on your phone, you only ever see like, I want to choreograph. I want to show my hands touching. So let's just film the hands. I want to see our eyes connecting. Just look up, do a close one on my eyes. Like it's so different. And that's the one thing with choreography. It's like, how do you capture it? That's what makes it look amazing.
On The Next Pro, are you choreographing specifically for the 3 judges right there? Or do you even, in the back of your mind, do the audience? Because they're not voting.
A bit of both.
You have to find that balance.
Each week, certain opportunities arise where I can ask for certain different things. So week 3, it was more, I was thinking camera angles. I was thinking camera angles. I was like, the judge is going to appreciate it, but camera angles. I want this to look sick on camera.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
You really have to play all of the angles of it.
I think that's the one thing, like me walking into this show, like I am a professional dancer. I could walk straight into Dancing with Stars and feel comfortable because I understand, and I've done all of this for 4 years on Strictly. I know what looks good. I know how to get the best out of my partners. And at the end of the day, how do we do it in the correct time frame? Because on this show, we just didn't have time.
You mentioned that you'd want to be partnered with Zara Larsson.
Yeah.
Is there any other people that you'd want to be partnered with if you win The Next Pro?
Oh,
Because Riley Arnold came on. She said she wanted to be partnered with Robert Irwin.
yeah.
She didn't get him. He ended up coming on.
Robert, like even for a guy, I was like, Robert's just the nicest guy ever. I know I've just changed conversation and things. Robert as a host on this show, I can't speak more highly of. Somebody who comes on as a host, as a presenter, but somebody who understands the highs and lows as a celebrity, who's learning to dance, being on camera. He was so accommodating to everybody's personal emotions, and I really would love to see more of the parts that we were actually in Robert's little area, talking to each of us couples after we've danced. And he was, honestly, one of the nicest people ever. Like, I know everybody who's met him says the same thing. I just thank you to him himself. Like, he really made that experience so much more than it could have been.
Yeah. Is there any other pros, any other people you want to dance with?
I don't know. I really don't. I'm trying to think who. I feel like Tate McRae would be like, you know what I mean? They're, again, musicians.
The pop stars.
The pop stars. They come out and they hit it hard, don't they?
Yeah.
They go for it. That'd be sick. As a choreographer, you'd be like, okay, we can do anything now.
Yeah. How are you spending your days now? You're here in America. How
Yep.
long are you here for?
I'm here for the next month or 2, to be honest. I'm having the opportunity to actually travel around America right now and dancing with all of the professionals from the show. So I'm going to go to Utah. I'm going to do some dancing with Natalie. I want to go see Jake and Benji in Miami. Obviously in LA, a lot of people here. I've been dancing with Steph. I danced with Briar and Eric. So it's quite cool to actually travel around America, feel like a tourist at the same time, be like, ooh, nice new sights, and dance with all the people from the show. Yeah, so I'm spending my days just like enjoying life, dancing, performing.
What do you think is the most shocking thing about America from somebody coming from the UK
Portion size.
of food?
Food portion size is crazy. First of all, I'm like,
Have you gone
okay,
to the South yet? It's gonna get bigger.
it's gonna get bigger, is it?
Yeah.
So I'm in the small portion side.
You're in like the
California.
moderate portion size right
Okay.
now.
Yeah, food portion size is out of control. That does make me laugh, but still, I feel like I have put weight on straight away being here. And I don't know what. There's a good energy. There's just kind of like, whether it be people on the streets, just like listening to music, just like doing their own thing. People, if they know what they like, they just do it. They don't really. It's like an ask for forgiveness sort of thing later. And I think that's quite rewarding. Whereas in the UK, would be a bit more kind of like, a bit more I don't know the correct word, subdued, a bit more kind of like, oh, maybe ask, can we do that? Whereas here, it's just like, oh, okay, I'll put music on, I'll do a bit of dancing, I'll do this. Like,
Are people more forward here?
yeah. I was like, in America, people are like, oh, what'd you do? Like, where are you? Like, oh, let's go do this. Like, I feel like you can connect with people a lot more. People are more open to ideas here. Like, I've messaged some people and been like, oh, can we try and collaborate and do some dancing here and do this? And they're like, yeah, like, even yourself, I was like, hey man, I know you don't know me, you've got this TV show coming out, I love your work, it looks great. Like, would you want to chat on the podcast? You're like, yeah, great.
Here's my address.
Yeah, here it is. Like, and I think that's really positive. And I think sometimes in the UK it can be a bit like, not gatekept, but a bit like, oh, I'm not too sure if we can do that. I'm not too sure if that's a good idea. Whereas here it's like, yeah, when are you free? I'm like, I'm free tomorrow. Let's do it.
That's so funny. Well, this has been awesome getting to talk to you.
No, honestly, thank you very much. Yeah.
Good luck in the competition. I'm looking forward to the next episodes, and I hope we get to see you in the next season.
We'll find out, won't we?
Yes, we will. Awesome. See you guys. That was great.
No, thank you.